What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the lab. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. Good to see you. It's great to be here. If you do me a big favor and hit that like button on the way in, and would very much appreciate it. If you're watching and aren't subscribed, would appreciate if you would subscribe as well. If not, well, I don't know what to think. All right, let me see. Where am I? I can't even see myself. Where am I at here? There he is. Let me say hi to some people on the way in. Let's see here. One big doodle. What's happening? Good to see you. Holly. Hi, Holly. How are you? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Oh, I know you want me to do my Trump. All right. Let's just get it. Wait, let's just get it out of the way. This live stream will be the biggest, best, most entertaining live stream, unlike anything you've ever seen before. Wow. All right. Okay, we got that. We got that out of the way. Had to do it, right? Okay, yeah. Harvey's calling it early. I appreciate that. Thank you very much as well. Martha. It is what it is. Nanato 5 Dow. Interesting. I like that. Surprise. It's an interesting interview that Brian Whitney had with Duke Daly and his mom as well. You know what I saw earlier that Enton did an interview with the lawyer of, I believe it was the second guy who was detained, the Range Rover, Land Rover, whatever, over guy, whatever one that guy was. Can't remember. But and I saw a little bit of it. I didn't see the whole thing, but it actually seemed interesting. So we will dive into that a little bit as well. Let me see. Yeah, well, also that's another thing, you know. Tomato is out in full force, hand in hand with Savannah and his wife Annie. Wondering if that changes anything for anybody, or we can get into that as well. Let's see here, because I mean, look, if people were accusing me or implicating me in the sort of things that he's being accused of or implemented in, I would be very skeptical about showing my face in public, and I think that he probably has been that way, and so I don't know. I thought it was interesting. Mary, there you are. Good to see you. How are you? Wolf Rider in the house. Good to see you as well. The last couple of shows, if you haven't, we've been talking on. Unfortunately, we've been talking about the war that's going on in Iran, and which is a very interesting topic as well. And I'm sure that we'll be covering it more as we go on. Well, because people are after him. People are, wouldn't you just because you're innocent of something doesn't mean that like there aren't crazy people out there. I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm just saying that it would feel odd and uncomfortable. I mean, why wouldn't it? Yeah, I don't think that he's going to have. I don't think he's going to do an interview. I just don't see that happening. Um, Let me see here. Cindy, yoo-hoo. What's happening? Well, that's what he did. But this is the first time that he's been seen. So I'm not saying, yeah, I mean, I get it, but everybody's different. Plus, you've never felt that kind of scrutiny, I don't think. I mean, maybe you have. It's at some point in your life. I don't know. I mean, the scrutiny that he's under is immense. Very. Be hard to know how you would act in that sort of situation. Um, but I do wonder if that has changed anybody's anybody's opinion of what's going on. Yeah, where did Luke's mom do an interview? I don't think he was ever in Italy. I think that was a rumor. Case Long, good to see you. I don't. I mean, I don't know what an interview. I don't think an interview would help. Okay, Brianna Whitney. Okay, let's see here. I guess we can start with that one. And Sammy Sosa, thank you for the 4.99. Hi, Josh. Do you think it means anything that the brother wasn't with him? No, not really. I mean, I think he's home. I don't know, I don't know when this vigil came together, but I think he's home, and you know, it, you're kind of you're look. These people are in a between a rock and a hard place because you know life does go on, but does it really? I mean, you can go through the motions and live your life, but until there's any resolution, this will be, the proverbial piano hanging over everybody's head and waiting for the shoe to drop, and uh, it's very, it's sad, that they're having to. This isn't like somebody, this isn't like just losing somebody, like somebody dying. That's not what it is. It's a terrible thing. Um, there's no closure, there's no answers, there's no anything right now. So, so I guess we can start with the interview. We'll see here. And then we'll move on to what's up, Eric? Good to see you. Let's see here. Cindy is officially a chat rat. Love that. Thank you for becoming a chat rat. No, that was Tomasio. I would too. Oh God, really? My nephew just got home from Syria. Thank God, Lord. Okay, here we go. So this lady, this is the mother of the guy that was detained the second time, correct? Because Enton talks to his lawyer, correct? I know that he talks to his lawyer tonight. I saw part of that interview. Let me answer this question here. I'm confused about something. Josh, can you explain to me the ransom? Wasn't there 2 and 1 of those fake? If there was a real one, did Nancy's family pay it? No ransom was paid. The ransoms were never substantiated as fact, and no proof of life was ever given. And I think one of the fake one, the guy was arrested who I believe he texted Annie and Tomasio and called one of their phones, but we don't know whose phone he rang. Okay. Wait a minute. Okay. Enton did so Carlos's lawyer is the first. Carlos was the first one that was arrested. Okay.
Luke is your son?
Yes.
Luke is the second one whose Range Rover. Wait a minute. Who is this? Which lady is this? Because when Enton interviewed the lady or the lawyer today, the Range Rover, I believe, was brought up. And the second guy that was arrested was part of the Range Rover. So Luke. All right, detained, not arrested. Okay, sorry. My apologies. Enton did an interview today with her son's lawyer.
You are Nancy Guthrie's neighbor.
By the way, his interview is very interesting, and we'll get to that.
Pretty close by.
I didn't realize that.
You didn't know that?
No.
So did you not know
I
Nancy?
knew it after everything happened. But otherwise, who'd heard of
You hadn't met her?
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay. So
she just said that she never met Nancy Guthrie, but that's not what was said in the interview with Enton's lawyer today. Keep that in mind.
you hear that she is abducted. She goes missing. I assume your first thought when you hear this is, oh my gosh, somebody, I mean, this is crazy and it's nearby. Were you following the story, following the case?
Totally at that point to see if they could ever find her, you know. And, you know, Savannah grew up in Arizona and, you know, her family, and we watch her on TV. So it's sort of like, you know, she comes into our living room and tells us what's going on. So it's, you know, it's very emotional for me. I mean, I'm old and I'm not used to this kind of stuff at all, but I have a lot of empathy and pray. I don't have a lot of hope of.
This is not Carlos's mother. This is Luke Daly's, the second, remember when the whole SWAT thing went down, the big time SWAT thing, and that chaotic night. Got it.
But that the family continues on, and
I'm not saying that the mom's involved.
and it's, you know, huge loss for all of us, actually.
Oh, it completely affects the community, a community you're part of. So when you first start hearing about it, I imagine there's a lot of upset and fear, concern.
Yes. And they were searching, you know, I live on this street, and then they were searching a street a little closer and a little farther out, excuse me. And, you know, it's just weird to have these people standing in front of my house wanting to talk, mostly news people wanting to.
Yeah, I mean, the media don't.
I didn't talk to those people at all. We just. Mm-hmm.
So tell me what happened when this all ends up at your home. Your home ends up becoming part of this story.
Yeah, well, people were coming to the door and I wasn't necessarily answering it. They might not have even had a camera or anything. And then this one, you know, late afternoon when they came in the big SWAT vehicles, pulled into my driveway and said they wanted to, you know, they wanted to see anything that could link anything. I said, well, yeah, go ahead. I mean, so they were there for about 6 hours and I was in the SWAT vehicle, and they went through my house and went through everything and tore everything, broke if the door was locked, they would break it open to go see what was in there. There really wasn't anything in there, but, you know, it was pretty upsetting.
Well, and it's one thing to come to you and say, do you have any video or anything like that? It's another to detain you and search your house with a search warrant. Did they tell you why?
I guess I assumed, you know, because I live close by or something, but I just said I'd do anything if we could find some clues that might help, but I don't think there's going to be anything in here, but go ahead and look. I mean, I didn't say you can't look. I didn't even think. It was kind of, you know, late in the day. I'm so sorry. I'll turn that off. I get a lot of phone calls now, a lot of messages from people. How are you doing, Mary? So, yeah, and then I just decided I was much better off going to Phoenix to be with Matt and the grandkids and his wife.
Luke is the second one detained.
Everything.
So when they detained you, did you know that this was related to also them investigating Luke?
No.
You had no idea?
No, I wasn't thinking this was about Luke. You know, I found out it was also about Luke, but initially, no, I was thinking it was all about Nancy Guthrie and finding her and whatnot. So, because I was thinking, I don't even think Luke probably ever watched the news and even saw Savannah on the news. I mean, I did.
Right. So when did you learn that, you know, your detainment was related to Luke's detainment in this case?
When I'm not exactly sure when, because honestly, during this time, I was really emotional, and there were lots of information coming in, and so I don't remember.
All right. For anybody who doesn't understand, this is Luke Daly's mother, the second person detained and questioned and house thrown by SWAT. No, Rusty McShackleford. Luke is not the name of the Land Rover.
For exactly the time, but I know that in retrospect, I know all this stuff that it did, but initially I didn't think of it being Luke as part of this, because I knew it wasn't something that Luke would be involved in any way, and he wasn't. So, yeah.
And when you learned that, was there any thought could he have been involved?
No, I didn't think he ever could have been involved. Not at all. No.
So you and Luke were not involved in anything in this case.
Right, except seeing it on TV and acting and some of the consequences of, we want to search this. And I'm like, okay, if it helps find, because this was early on, we thought differently about.
Did they take anything specific from your home?
All right, let me answer this question. Josh, you showed us the clip of the guy with 2 backpacks as he walked away. Looked like he was talking on his walkie-talkie. Could him and the porch guy be connected by the walkie-talkies? I think they said the guy was cleared, but I don't know. I mean, I doubt it. But I from what I understand, that guy's cleared. Yeah, thanks.
Did they take anything? I can't think of anything they took. I can't think of anything.
Right. Luke owns the Range Rover, but the name of the Range Rover is not Luke.
Did they
I
eventually?
might think of something later.
That's
I hate
fine.
to say it, but
Yeah.
Did
they eventually tell you that they were searching your home in relation to this case, or did you this whole time think they're just looking to see if I have any surveillance video or anything like that? Like, where did that shift happen?
They didn't give me a lot of information, but I just assumed, and I said, well, if it's not, like I said, if it's not something that might help us find her, then go for it. If you think there's anything in here, but I don't think there is. So, yeah.
Did you ever suspect that Luke might know who was involved?
No.
Not at all.
No. Mm-mm.
So you guys were basically both detained for hours. You were questioned. Your property gone through, and then released, but with not a lot of explanation as to why.
Well, I guess they just said they could do. I didn't want to stop if it might be helpful, but I had no idea when. I thought they'd maybe look around for an hour or something, poke around, and but yeah.
So you have not been back at your home since staying there since this.
I just got back.
What's that like?
It's really good to be back here. I was up in Phoenix with my kids and grandkids, which is wonderful. But, we built our home and lived there a long time. And Matt's grown up in it. Luke's grown up in it. They're,
Let's see. Josh, we got to talk more about the 2 ransom letters not debunked. Authorities never said those demands were hoaxes. Yeah, I never said they were either, but the problem is that they wanted proof of life and they never gave proof of life.
So it's home. So I love being there. I'm glad to be back, and it's nice to know that Luke's there and with me.
I mean, in the days since you guys were detained, it's not been an easy road for any of you, Luke especially. I mean, people still believe he is the person on the video camera. They still believe he's the person who abducted Nancy Guthrie. his face is out there, his name, your name has been out there. How, as a family, have you emotionally dealt with that, even though you've been released?
Well, things will just pop up and I'll just feel a lot more like even sitting here talking about it. It is very emotional. And part of me just wants to say goodbye to all this chapter. So hopefully this interview will help kind of have some closure for me and for everybody else who's felt the impact, because this has been huge impact, not just here. I mean, all the family from Rhode Island called right away and said, wow, look what's happening. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't really do Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff. I'm not the right demographic. I don't spend my time doing that,
But Luke's on it. I mean, he is younger, and that is part of him, and he's had to see his
Is the Range Rover named Bartholomew?
face out there.
That's really a shame, I think. But I was shocked about all of that. That was an education for me in terms of a way of communicating and things people like to do, like younger people, not older people like me.
Yeah. What do you say to people who have also brought up Luke's past and kind of associated, oh, well, he's had a past with criminal activity, therefore this could be a part of this? What do you say to those people?
Well, I don't know. They don't really ask me that. My friends, I have a really good group of friends here in Tucson. And
there's no clearing anything up at this point, Jason.
They never really questioned me about that stuff. And if they thought,
and it's a Land Rover,
they thought it, they didn't, come up and say, well, could he have done this? And they didn't, probably out of respect. Sure. Because they don't know, and I didn't know what all was going on sometimes, but I knew this wasn't, Luke's had other issues, but this is not the kind of thing that he had a problem with. And he's doing well now, and we're all kind of in the recovery mode, if you know what I mean, trying to get our lives back and get back to normal again and all that stuff.
For your family, it's been tough. For the Guthrie family, it's been tough. What is your thought process trying to relate to the Guthries themselves going through this, but in the most awful way, in that they've lost Nancy and there's still no answers?
Really, mostly I pray. Yeah.
And they've asked for prayers.
They've asked for prayers. And sometimes I can listen to Savannah's, she comes on and talks often. You guys all know that probably. And I've watched a little bit, but I can't watch too much because it just makes me want to cry. It's just so sad. And the longer it goes on, then the more hope is lost,
For you guys in this neighborhood, it's a very tight knit. It's a beautiful neighborhood. It's quiet. It's quaint. To have this kind of onslaught, the media spectacle, and then to become where you are, does that change your perception of how safe home feels?
Well, I feel safe in my home now. I didn't for a while. That's why I went to Phoenix. I have wonderful neighbors that live right next door, and we're in this little cul-de-sac together. And that's where the SWAT team came up the cul-de-sac and stuff. But I stayed with them some of the time. A couple nights I stayed over at David and Margaret's house because I was uncomfortable, So, yeah, I just never thought in my life I would. Who would imagine something like this? It was so much sadness. And I want to say global, but certainly our whole country, but it goes farther than that probably.
Oh, it really does.
The way media is today. I grew up in a different era, as you know. So it's amazing how things spread.
What do you want to say to the Guthrie family, especially for you and your son? If there was any possibility they still believed you guys could be involved, what do you want to say to the Guthries?
Savannah, I am just very, very sad and sorry about Nancy. And I pray for you and your family that you heal that you can go back to your normal place of life and resume and build with your family and your children and your husband. And but I know it's going to be a challenge, but I'm going to keep praying.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And you want them to know no involvement from you and Luke.
No involvement from Luke and I, no.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay, so this one's so this isn't the Range Rover or the Land Rover. This is actually Luke himself, correct?
people
Damn, she got the interview with him too. And the lawyer's out. They're on full force.
have believed that you are the person on the surveillance video, the abduction.
Looks a little fat to be the surveillance guy. This close to banning Land Rover, Range Rover in the chat.
The masked person.
Don't make me do it. I swear to God.
Is that you?
It's not me. I don't see the resemblance of it looking like me, but absolutely not. I have nothing to do with this case.
Nothing to do with it. Do you have any idea who is involved in the abduction?
I don't. If I did, I would happily tell FBI, police, anything. I mean, I, like everyone else, just want Nancy to come home and be safe. But that being said, I have nothing to do with this case, and that's it.
Explain to me what happened on the night you were detained, where you were, you're with your car. How did that unfold in your eyes?
So I was driving home. I noticed two sheriff vehicles following me. They pulled me over at the Culvers right there, asked me to get out of the car, didn't tell me what it was about. So they had me cuffed in the back of a cop car, detained. I was asking, like, what am I being detained for? And they wouldn't tell me anything. They just said that the detectives would be there to talk to me. And once I saw like FBI and all the other cars start pulling in, I'm like, oh, this is probably about the Guthrie case. I'm like, this should be easy. Like, I have nothing to do with this, so it should be not a big deal to clear my name and move on. But the whole time during the questioning, didn't really seem like more of like a fishing expedition for them to try to get me to say something, because all the dates I was telling them where I was, things like that. I'm like, all you'd have to do is look at my phone and see my location. I like it was
Looks like he's getting ready to go sign the Declaration of Independence.
nowhere near anywhere or have any connection to this. But still, it was tough, like being there. Like, I mean, I don't trust the FBI to the extent that I'm like thinking that there's pressure on this case and they want to find the person. So like the whole time while I'm sitting in the back of the cop car, I'm like panicking, thinking that I'm going to be framed for this, or they're trying to pin this on me somehow.
Did they tell you what led them to you? I mean, something made them believe they needed to talk to you about it. What was that?
I asked them. They didn't tell me any information about that. And I have thought of any type of reason why they could have come after me. But there's...
Well, that's weird, Rusty McShacklefor, because he doesn't drive a Range Rover. He drives a Land Rover.
There's nothing, and I think that's why they didn't tell me.
Were you in the area of the home at the time, like the overnight, or would it have been something like, we've tracked this person near the
Well, I
abduction scene?
live near her house, but I mean, I didn't even know that until after the fact. Like, I barely just learned where her actual house was in relation to mine. So I didn't even know.
Had you ever met her?
No.
Did you know who she was?
I knew who she was because my mother was following the case. But in terms of other than that, I would just go off what my mother was telling me.
And so how long were you detained for?
Then what is it? I don't give a shit what kind of car it is. Honestly, I don't care. Range Rover, Land Rover, butt rover, bend over? Who gives a shit?
Probably
It's all going to be banned.
maybe 4 or 5 hours.
In the back of that car the whole time? And they searched your Range Rover extensively?
Yeah, they searched Range Rover. They towed my Range Rover. Did all DNA testing or whatever, and then gave it back to me. Took my cell phone. I've had no way to get a hold of anyone, which is probably a good thing because everyone's looking at me like I'm this person that I'm not. So it's been rough.
You got your car back
Yes.
in rough condition, or was it okay?
Well, when I went to pick it up, like it wouldn't start. They, I guess,
What?
they drained the battery down,
I don't want to hear about his car.
and it was just covered in the whatever white substance that they use for testing. But yeah, then I got it started up, and it wasn't. Luckily, it wasn't damaged in terms of like repairs or anything. But
So when they released you, what did they say? They say you're free? Did they say never mind? I mean, what was the verbiage there from them?
they had just told me that they were still at my house, so I couldn't go home. But they drove me somewhere near the house and just dropped me off. I was like, well, I don't have a phone. How am I supposed to figure out when I can go back to the house? They basically said, you're just gonna have to figure that out. So, I mean, I waited just where they dropped me off at for maybe an hour or so. I had a friend that lived near the area, and I walked over there. They weren't home, so I was just waiting, like basically just on their patio. And then it got to the point where I'm like, well, they should be done by now. I walked back to my house, and this was like the worst part for me, is getting there and seeing the house torn up. But the worst part was my mom not being there, and her being elderly and having AFib and things like that. I'm thinking the worst. Like, I see her cars here, but she's not there, and I don't have my phone to get a hold of her. So I'm wondering what happened, if I need to start calling hospitals or what the deal was. But luckily, I guess she went to one of the neighbors, but I didn't find that out until the next day.
Right. You were detained and released, but you've said it, your face, your name, it's everywhere online. People still believe you were either involved or did this. What's that been like for you to have your name, your picture, even a past mugshot all over the internet associated with this case?
I mean, for me, it's terrible. It's hard to go anywhere, and the hard part is they're making all these assumptions based on things that have absolutely no relevance, and they're just bringing up my past, which I do have a past, but nothing violent or anything like that. All my past has just been involved with using drugs, and I haven't been in that life for over 2 years now. So all the things that they're bringing up, I guess it's public record, but it would have came out if it wasn't for all these people speculating and doing things like that. So now people that had no idea about my past, so I've done like a good job of working past it and
Yeah, we're not going to see a warrant for quite some time.
not having anything to do with it. So them doing that now is kind of just reopening this whole speculation and make me out to look like this bad person, which I'm not.
And it's not just been you. People have found, records of an alleged girlfriend of yours. There's been a lot of rumors swirling around. What do you want to say about those rumors, about you, about her, about, everybody that people have looked at and said, well, they could do this?
Yeah, first of all, that's not my girlfriend. I barely knew that girl, and I was arrested with her on a completely different circumstance over a year ago. I haven't talked to her since, and I guess they're just going off of the arrest, saying that I was arrested with her. So, but I hardly know her and don't associate with her.
They were her drugs.
But in terms of everything else, I mean, all the speculation is just going off of, I don't even know if people really believe it, but online it just seems like they're pushing this narrative and trying to make connections with things that are, I don't know, basically like circumstantial. like saying my eyelashes match the guy in the ski mask picture, which I'm sure like you could use anyone's picture and find similarities.
And you don't recognize the person on that in that footage?
No, I don't.
He's very nervous.
But in terms of all this, like I said, they're comparing my face to this. They're talking about my Range Rover, which I didn't even buy until after.
It's a it's a Range Rover, not a Land Rover. Rusty McShackleford was right. I hate to admit that.
She was reported missing.
It was a new car, yeah. For you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're talking about another car that was towed off my property. That car wasn't an accident, has nothing to do with this. It wasn't towed in relation to this case. It was being towed by the insurance company to assume if it was totaled or not.
Damn you, McShackleford.
So that had nothing to do with the case. There's no evidence to point towards me other than speculation.
You really have no idea what led them to you in this case.
Absolutely not.
Still a mystery to you.
Yes, and I would love to find out.
Were you dealing mostly with sheriff's deputies or FBI agents when you were detained?
When I was detained by the sheriffs, but in terms of all the questioning was done by the FBI.
What would you like to say to both PCSD and the FBI?
Basically what I told them before, if there's anything, I'm happy to help. If there actually was something real that I could help them with, but like I said, they have my phone. They went through my phone. So, I mean, if it was anything real, they could look through that and hope clear my name. But in terms of the collateral damages, this being part of it, there's not really any type of way. There's no going back from this.
For your whole family too. I mean, your mom has had to go through this too. As a family, how has this made you guys feel collectively together to kind of be in this public shock, this public scrutiny?
It all just seems like a nightmare. I mean, it doesn't seem real, and it's just been, we're all it's just been a nightmare. I know my mom, she has like,
That's kind of what I was thinking too, Kelsey, was that like, I think his Adam's apple's getting choked down to his balls. I mean, good Lord.
with stress, and like she was doing good
Maybe that's why he's having trouble breathing, not because he's nervous.
before this. After this, she's been a lot more stressed. It's been hard. I'll let her speak to how it's affected her, but I mean, in terms of collectively as a family, it's been a nightmare.
You know, what's your message for Nancy Guthrie's family?
I mean, I, like everyone else, I want to see her come home. I want the actual suspect to be found. I think it's really unfair to them to give them false hope by going off whatever they went off to have this huge investigation and raid happen. To me, it's like giving them false hope that they had a suspect and then it was nothing. And I'm not the first person either, so I think it's wrong in that sense.
This is your first interview since you've been detained. What's your hope in putting your voice out there now that people will get from this interview?
I mean, for my personal interest, I would just say just not to go off speculation of everything.
I don't know if I don't know if like they knew them personally. I'm sure they knew of her, knew who she was, knew who her daughter was, but I don't know. It's pretty hard to say.
Here on the internet, and kind of like the hive mind mentality that someone says something and then they just go off of it based on no evidence, no truth. But I mean, in terms of like moving forward, I just want to be.
I would never do that for anybody. Never. If she pulled out a ski mask and was like, "Here, try this on," I'd be like, "You try it on." He's very nervous. Which, I mean, I would be too. Why would he be nervous if he's not guilty? Because people get nervous.
Cleared, have actual verification that I was cleared by the FBI and sheriff, whoever else.
Have they officially cleared you?
I don't date. This is just going off what I've heard, but I guess I've been cleared, but they don't close any case, I guess, because it's still ongoing. But I mean, I know personally there's nothing else that they're gonna come across that points towards me. So
Unequivocally, you are not the person, you are not involved.
Absolutely, 100%.
Is there anything else you want to clear up that people may have said, that you've seen, that you feel that you have the opportunity now to address?
Nothing particular is coming to mind right now. Obviously, I'm nervous. This is, like I said, my first interview, and I mean, I'm not trying to get any more attention from this. I just want to put it out there for me that I had nothing to do with this, and I'm hoping that the truth will come out, whatever that may be. I have no idea.
I appreciate your time. Chris, do you have anything that you want Luke to address or add? Luke, is there anything else that I didn't ask you that you want to address or talk about while you're here? Just want to make sure that you get your opportunity to say anything you want to.
I just want to say again that I hope that she's safe. I hope they find her, and I just want to move on with my life and not have any. I mean, it's been hard. Like, I can't go anywhere. Everyone gives.
I don't ever want to wear this wool vest with a pocket ever again. It looks a little young on him. Like he wore it to youth group in like friggin' mid-90s.
Dirty looks, and they see me in my car. Like, I would assume that they, like, I don't know, people are just think I'm like this person, and it's been hard, like leaving, going anywhere, doing anything. So I'd like to be able to go about my life and not have this shadow of doubt casted over me.
Shadow of doubt casted over him. Dude, I'm telling you, like, that is
people
where they drop me off at for maybe an hour or so.
I don't know if I could do a side by side, right? Hold on. Give me a second. I'll do a friggin' side by side for you. Yeah. Here. Plug your hole with this. I don't know. I don't know if he would be. Well, I mean, I don't know. Okay, hold on.
Luke is your son?
Yes, Luke is his son. Luke drives a Range Rover. Who do we listen to first? Enton or Nancy Grace? Can we do an overlay? I think this is CSI. I'm not saying it is the guy. No, I've heard you. I've heard you. I'm not saying it is. I'm just playing the shiz. Okay. All right. Since McShackleford was right on the Range Rover. I mean, we're gonna play it all anyway. So what does it matter? You guys want to hear Enton first? I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have taken the I know how to do an overlay. I'm just not going to do it. Yeah, I was going to do a side by side. It just seems like a lot of work.
Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my show. I really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe.
Let me do this side by side while I host the show.
Today is day 30 in the search for Nancy Guthrie. It is Monday. I'm in Nancy's neighborhood right now. Her house is actually right here. And I was telling you guys in another episode, you know, there are certain times when you're covering this where sort of the emotion of it really hits you. And sometimes I get so wrapped up in the investigation and trying to chase down leads. But then one day something will happen and you'll kind of just realize just how awful this whole thing is on an emotional level. And today was one of those days. And it's because Savannah Guthrie, Nancy's daughter, of course, and her sister Annie Guthrie and Annie's husband, Tommaso, they came here to Nancy's house and they left some flowers and a card. And it's the first time that we've seen them all here at the house. And I'm going to show you guys. I mean, it was just a really emotional moment. So I'll get into that in this episode. Also, I was just over at the lawyer's office for the man whose house, the second raid that happened, the one where I got very close. He has a lawyer now. This is the one that was like 2 miles from here. Remember when the SWAT team was there and everything, Luke Daly. And I was just talking to his lawyer about what is happening behind the scenes. There was apparently this federal search warrant. What has he been able to figure out about why his client may have been tied into all this? He says, by the way, that his client has absolutely nothing to do with the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. Interesting, though, he was...
What did you think he was going to say? Yeah, he's guilty. Watch out for the big black and ferocious poodle. Yeah, I saw him today from a distance.
I said, well, does your client or his mom, because remember it was his mom's house, have they ever met Nancy Guthrie? Did they know anything about her? And the mom actually had met her, and he tells that story. But I'm going to get into all of that. Really interesting conversation. And the latest on the investigation. Again, it's now day 30 in this episode of Brian Enton Investigates. Hey guys, all right, so I'm outside Nancy's house, and I was telling you, it's really the first time that we have seen Savannah Guthrie and her family here, at least publicly. There was that one day, you guys remember I told you that there was that SUV that showed up that went into the garage. We weren't able to see who got out. I do believe it was family then too, but this time they, weren't hiding in any way and came to see the sort of the flowers and there's flowers and candles and cards that people have left for Nancy. I called it a memorial earlier, and then I thought about it. I guess that would just be for someone who's passed away. And of course, we don't know that Nancy has passed away. We hope she's still alive. So I guess I probably shouldn't call it a
Enton wearing a button up today. Good for him.
Memorial, but they clearly wanted to see it for themselves. And it was just a News Nation crew who was here and one other network. And I'm glad no one really tried to ask any questions or anything, which I'm glad about. I'm glad they got to just have their moment. So I want to play for you that whole kind of moment. And I think it's important, again, just because it shows what they're going through and kind of reminds all of us the emotional impact this has had on them and why this is just such a sad case when you think about 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie missing and what her family is going through. So I just want to play you this moment, the whole raw thing, just so you can see it for yourself.
Yeah, I think most everybody probably feels. I was thinking about this earlier. Like under the best of circumstances, it would be hard for somebody to maintain. I mean, we're talking about an 84-year-old woman with major heart issues. It's awful because they're not even just mourning they can't even mourn properly.
So yeah, I mean, just so
Okay, so against my better judgment, and because I'm a team player, I I have no idea. I have no idea. I can't tell. The guy's wearing a friggin' mask.
sad to see that, and you could clearly hear. I think it was Annie who was weeping, and you just imagine. I mean, again, Nancy's lived here since the 1970s. This is the house that they grew up in, so you just imagine what this must be like for them to be back here in this moment. And you saw they left behind a card. The card said, "Mama, we miss you so much. Our hearts are broken. We are standing on ash, on scored earth. But Mom, though we are surrounded by so much darkness and uncertainty, our love burns bright. We love you, Mommy. We miss you so much, our best friend." And then Savannah later posted on Instagram this post with a picture of all the flowers. And there's so many flowers out here now. I mean, they've really grown over the last week or so. One of the neighbors has actually come out and watered them too. And Savannah posted, "We feel the love and prayers from our neighbors, from the Tucson community, and from around the country. Please don't stop praying and hoping with us. Bring her home." So just really emotional to see them out here. Kind of switching over into the latest with the investigation, though, I've told you guys that there's been sort of a shuffling of resources. A lot of the FBI agents have gone back to Phoenix. With the Pima County Sheriff's Office, we know that there's some detectives working on the case full time, and there's this task force now that's detectives and FBI working together, but it's not all the detectives like it was before, it's been 30 days now. That's natural.
I typically don't do things like that because I just, it doesn't prove anything.
Actually going to happen, although it's still a very active investigation. People have asked me, do I think it's a cold case? I don't think it's a cold case, and I do think we're going to see a resolution here. It might just not be as soon as we hoped. You guys remember there was that raid with the SWAT team and the FBI that happened just 2 miles from Nancy's house a couple of weeks ago. It was a Friday night. It was the one where I got into the perimeter. It was really intense. And we actually thought this was finally going to be it because there was so much law enforcement, and they served this federal search warrant at this home. And then they also pulled over a man just like a few blocks away in that Range Rover. His name was Luke Daly. And then they impounded the Range Rover, and then it was his mom's house that they searched.
Yeah, I'm not even going to go into it because it's just I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I mean,
I'm learning now.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be anybody.
More about what happened behind the scenes.
It could be me. It's not, but I'm saying it could be anybody.
I actually just interviewed
it couldn't be me.
Luke Daly now has a lawyer who says he's totally innocent, kind of similar to Carlos. Remember the first raid that happened in Rio Rico? He also got a lawyer. They say that they actually have nothing to do with Nancy Guthrie. Same thing happening here. But I learned some interesting things from the lawyer about what he has learned about exactly what went down. I mean, and they really searched that house. They really searched the Range Rover, what they may have been looking for. And also one interaction he says that his client did have with Nancy Guthrie, his client's mom, actually, years ago. So this is my conversation with Luke Daly's lawyer. We were out there, when all of this went down at Luke and Mary's house, and then it kind of blew over. What happened? I mean, can you walk us through what actually happened? Did they just was it a federal search warrant or?
Yes, it was a federal search warrant. It was executed on the house, and contemporaneous to that, to Luke's vehicle. So he was stopped, ultimately pulled over in a Culver's. The house was being raided at the same time at the house, and she was, kind of detained for about 6 to 7 hours.
Well, the reason they lawyer up is because they want some money, some monetary compensation.
Luke was in the car. He was detained for about the same amount of time, maybe a little less. Than he was released. And then when he couldn't go back home immediately, and then when he went back home, his mom wasn't there, and the house was destroyed, like the bottom floor of it specifically. The car was also, damaged through the search. He couldn't find his mom. He was worried. I mean, it was really a kind of traumatic experience for the family. Then she ended up staying at her friend's house in the neighborhood. They got reacquainted the next day. And then Mary, the mom, she ended up, because of the constant presence of media, but also new media, she ended up going to stay with her son up in Phoenix area.
Was it Luke's Range Rover? Because when we were out there was a Range Rover. Yeah,
it was.
Has he gotten that back yet?
He has.
He has.
So
What did
they tested up in Phoenix area.
Was it Luke's Range Rover?
fucking stupid ass Range Rover?
Because when we were out there was a Range Rover. Yeah,
It was.
Has he gotten that
My Range Rover.
back yet?
He had.
Oh, you're talking about Sam. I like that song. Paranoid by Ty Dolla $ign.
He has.
So they tested it, left it with all the, all kind of still destroyed
Yeah, it sounds like they ruined a bunch of shit in the house.
a bit, but it was returned.
And when they do a search like that, do they have to give you a copy of the search warrant?
Typically they do. I didn't see one produced for, they may have, I don't know. I didn't see one produced for the Dailies. I wasn't given one. Obviously, we still haven't seen or had access to the affidavit that undergirded the warrant.
Do you have any idea why they chose Luke and his mom in that house and the car?
I do not. And obviously, we're very, very curious to see this affidavit, but I don't. And Luke does not either, nor does his mom.
The other man, Carlos, we interviewed his lawyer, the one who was from Rio Rico, kind of a similar situation.
Right.
And, he was a delivery driver, and his lawyer thought maybe like he had been in that area.
I don't understand how you can't know why you're not allowed to know, or why you wouldn't know the reason that you're being detained other than you're under investigation. Like, they should have to give you an actual reason, don't you think? Yeah, I'm done with the Range Rover, Land Rover. I hate them.
Maybe, just with the geofencing, that may have connected him to that area. Do you think it's this? I mean, did they say if they drove through that area, your clients?
It would be rank speculation on my part. I have no clue what undergirded it. I mean, we were speculating that maybe some confidential source threw his name out there for some reason. We have no idea. But as far as we're concerned, it was completely baseless and is going nowhere. And as this storm of media and this beast that needs to be fed passes, with Iran happening now and other stories taking primary position, the problem is that you still have the sort of destruction of people's lives in the wake of this story.
Oh,
that
yeah.
moves on
Happens
imminently and
happens all the time.
inevitably. But you know, the Dailies are left picking up the pieces, literally, of their home, which was destroyed in the search warrant, as well as their tattered reputation. So that's why they finally, decided to come out and speak to the press, just to get their story out there and proclaim their innocence and wish the Guthries their best.
Do they have any connection to Nancy Guthrie?
They live in the same area. That's it.
But they've never like met her or anyone in her family, or
From my understanding, Mary Daly years ago had a circumstance where they ran into each other, and I think she was with Savannah, and maybe out at a grocery store or something like that, but rather inconsequential.
just like Mary was a fan, sort of thing, like that kind of run in, like she saw them, or
I don't even know the circumstance. I just was informed by Mary that years ago that happened.
but no, so they're not friends or anything.
You're going to have a hard time suing the federal government. You would have to prove that your rights were violated, that a judge signed an unlawful warrant, a federal judge. You're going to take it in front of a federal judge and try to get a federal judge to say that somebody that his peer or his whatever the word is, I don't know, colleague, excuse me, signed a illegitimate warrant. What they'll say though is that there were special circumstances, that time was of the essence. There's all these little things that they could say. It's there's a lot of things that they can sort of hide behind. It was FBI. It was a federal warrant.
No.
What happened at their house? Like, I mean, because we were out there, they were there for a long time. Like, in terms of, did they search the whole house, or?
Meticulously and destructively. They went through the whole, ground floor, breaking doors that if they were locked, breaking the doors, and just leaving no stone unturned.
Could you tell, or could they tell what they were looking for? Like, was it something
No,
specific?
and Mary didn't know. I don't even think she initially, is my understanding, that she didn't know.
But the one thing that you guys are missing is that you're going to have to get another federal judge to admit that one of their colleagues violated somebody's rights by signing an illegitimate search warrant. But what I'm telling you is that when there is special circumstances, when they feel like time is of the essence, they can use that as reasoning.
Know that they had warrants, and she was just being helpful. Like, yeah, any way we can help. And she was detained and put in the back of the car and sat there for hours and hours and hours, and actually was able to go into a neighbor's home for a while, and she ended up sleeping at the neighbor's home. But that's what happened.
Did they take their phones?
They took Luke's. I don't know about Mary. They did take Luke's. I don't have any results of a dump or a download from that.
But he got it back?
Unsure of that.
Okay, because I know Carlos, the other situation, I don't think he's even gotten his back still, or as of a week.
I'm saying unsure.
Okay.
I don't think that he's gotten it back.
Okay.
He's told me he's gotten the car back, of course, and they have access to the house, of course. But I think they still have the car. The phone.
Was there a brother too? Does Luke have a brother?
Luke does. And the mom, who's elderly and has some health issues, the stress of this absolutely was detrimental to her mental health as well as her physical well-being. And she went to live with her son, Matt, up in Phoenix area.
So, yeah, because initially we heard something like there was a man detained in a Range Rover, and then there was a mom and another man or another brother detained at the house. I guess that's...
The other brother was never detained.
Okay.
Is my understanding.
Okay. What was the other question?
How does the lawyer not know? How does the lawyer not know if he got his phone back or not?
I was going to ask you. I mean, you, a longtime lawyer, do you think that should authorities come out and clear them? Because like you said, I mean, his name is now everywhere. And same with Carlos, the one from Rio Rico. Do you think they need to make a public statement or something?
That's one of the things that the dailies are seeking. Again, as I mentioned just a moment ago, a storm can't come through, destroy things, reputations, lives, homes, and then when that's gone, who's to pay the cost? Who's to pick up those pieces? You know, I mean, there is collateral damage in these situations that gets largely forgotten. So, at the very least, the dailies are seeking to clear their name. One of the reasons why they came, frankly, the foremost reason why they even agreed to talk to the press. This was dying down. The story was dying down, and they're not seeking attention. But although the story is dying down, the internet sleuths are still throwing his name about. Luke, he's still getting dirty looks from when he goes out, and it absolutely.
I mean, dirty looks. I mean, I get dirty looks all the time.
Should be clearing his name. So that's something that, you know, we'll be seeking and hope will be forthcoming.
Do you think you'll be able to see the search warrant? I mean, do they have a right to be able to see why their house was?
Look, the law enforcement can blame, you know, not allowing or unsealing the search warrant on an ongoing investigation. At some point, whether it's through litigation or otherwise, I will be finding out what's in that search warrant.
Okay. And just sort of bigger picture, how long have you lived in Tucson? A while, right?
I lived here.
Maybe he gets dirty looks because he drives a Range Rover. And Jason says, Josh, has put towards your new Lane Range Rover or whatever. I understand I am banned now. Nah, you donated. You're not. You're not banned.
20 years.
Just kidding. You wouldn't be banned anyway.
What do you make of the whole situation? I mean, you mentioned, you know, it's kind of dying down a little. Obviously, Iran is happening now, but
the
whole situation, yeah.
Tragic. I mean, truly tragic. We're a small, large town. Everyone knew the Guthries, and you know, when this information is trickling down to my kids as well, and I'm sure that's happening, you know, across town. It's really unfortunate. We live in a great community, and it's a tragic thing that happened to the Guthrie family. And my clients are praying for them. I'm praying for them. Everyone I know is.
Is it unusual for them to do a search warrant like that for people who are totally I mean, have you had situations happen like this before? I mean, I was again, SWAT team. We saw, I mean, dozens of FBI. Like, we thought this is it.
Look, I mean, there's no question that was overkill. I mean, there's no question, but and nothing's come of it.
Yeah.
So you can do the deductions yourself.
And just one last question I just thought of. Did they take anything else with them besides the phone?
That question was asked to my clients, and my understanding is that they took nothing else of interest or of anything.
I wonder what they were looking for.
Likewise.
Yeah. Anything else?
Not for me.
So it'll be interesting. You know, we've tried to get a lot of these search
He's pretty dry.
warrants and documents, and everything is sealed right now at the courthouse. We've made several trips over to the courthouse, and that was a federal search warrant. And even the lawyer says he hasn't had a chance to see the affidavit and exactly why they were connecting his client back to the Nancy Guthrie case. So once we're able to get some of those documents, it'll be interesting. My gut says it might have to do with geofencing. Remember with Carlos, the first man who was detained, turned out he was a delivery driver, may have driven.
I know this isn't your first time here.
Through the area, maybe caught up in the geofencing, which is when the FBI goes in and finds everyone whose cell phone was in this area around a certain time frame. Perhaps that's what the deal is with Luke Daly also, although he says and his lawyer says that he actually was never in this area. So we'll have to wait and see what is actually going to potentially connect him to all this, although, again, his lawyer says he's not connected at all. But there had to be something in that search warrant because, again, you can't just get a federal search warrant without they must have had some meat on the bones. Even if it didn't pan out, there had to be something there for them to be able to go in, take his cell phone, detain him and his mom, search the whole house. And you heard the way he described the way that they searched the house. So we'll keep trying to get it. At some point, they'll have to unseal it. It might not be soon, though, but we'll keep trying. I mentioned it's been 1 month now since Nancy went missing. I've gotten to know a lot of the neighbors out here. I told you guys, the sheriff made it difficult for us, and the county, no parking allowed out here anymore. But the neighbors, we've gotten to know very well. We kind of know them and all their dogs because they all walk their dogs. And one of the neighbors has been especially nice, who I see all the time, a guy named Jeff. And he actually lives right behind Nancy Guthrie's house. You can see Nancy Guthrie's house from Jeff's backyard. And he'd met Nancy several times before and just has an interesting insight into what the neighborhood is like, how everybody's doing now, and what he thinks may have happened. So I just talked with Jeff a little while ago. I wanted you guys to hear that conversation. So Jeff, you live kind of behind Nancy Guthrie, kind of to the side.
Sure, around the corner.
Around the corner.
A few doors down.
How are you and your wife doing? It's been about a month now.
Yeah, I think collectively the entire neighborhood obviously are saddened, hopeful at times. We've had some moments where we thought there was a breakthrough and we thought that there could be resolution, but we are still trying to keep that hope. I know there was talk of a vehicle potentially identified and some other leads. And I think even us talking today and what the media is doing is to keep awareness, keep people, directing people to the tip line, making people aware about their reward, and keeping people aware of what has happened.
Yeah. How long have you lived here?
About 6 years.
6 years. And I can't remember, where are you guys from again?
Originally back east, but most recently New Mexico.
New Mexico, okay. Yeah. And it seems like a lot of people here moved here from somewhere else.
It's funny. There are some long timers. My understanding is that Nancy's lived here since 1975.
Yeah.
There's some folks who are more recent arrivals. Folks who have retired. There are some snowbirds. So it's kind of a mixture.
How would you describe the neighborhood? Because people who haven't been here, it's different. You have to kind of know it to really understand it.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful backdrop of desert. As you see the mountains, to my left, I mean, they're stunning. It's quiet. It's serene, but it is very safe. I know this was a shocking event. I mean, nothing of this nature has ever occurred. So this was really beyond surprising.
How did you first find out about it?
Sunday afternoon, we saw helicopter traffic, above us. And then we saw a large response of folks from the sheriff's department. And later on, actually, an incredible response from a volunteer crew of folks who do rescue in the mountains, of lost hikers or what have you, who did a thorough searching through the neighborhood. And then ultimately, we were reached out to, as were all our neighbors, about ring video, about had we seen anything, obviously giving access to our properties. Immediately we all looked through our properties, seeing if we could find anything. And unfortunately, as we all know, we are where we are.
Have you had any issues here before? Any trouble?
No, not at all.
Burglars or anything?
No. People, in the summer when it's hot, people jog at 11 o'clock at night. They walk their dogs late at night, early morning. I mean, this is a very, very safe neighborhood.
So you haven't had any neighbors burglarized or anything like that?
Not to my knowledge, no.
So you never were worried about anything really here?
No, I mean, some people don't lock their doors. We would.
Yeah.
People have ring videos. I mean, that's just become almost common everywhere. But I think people do feel very safe here. I think people were not fearful, but just obviously most of all upset for her and her family, because this is terrible.
Yeah.
But also, just hoping that we can have some sort of resolution. And ideally, I know it's just the hope that perhaps even a positive resolution.
So this is the kind of place people don't lock their doors?
Some don't.
Yeah.
We've heard that, and it is an incredibly safe neighborhood.
Yeah, I've wondered that about Nancy. Like maybe she's lived here so long.
Yeah.
Until now.
Sometimes people, maybe she didn't lock her doors.
I don't know. I know, of course, we all know that she did have a security cameras.
Yeah.
And that's something that, I mean, in theory, I guess you could say this could happen anywhere, but it is definitely an anomaly.
So this area behind your house,
Sure.
because it kind of butts up to Nancy's
Sure.
also. Is this just open area?
So there's, I mean, the properties go back, and there are some, as you see, some sort of trails that connect some of the properties, but it's scrub. I mean, it's cactus, it's trees, it's palo verdes, it's rock. I mean, it's really natural. So it's not a very accessible area.
But there are little trails.
Well, I mean, some very small ones. I know kids, we were told the legend was used to grab the school bus and cut through there's sort of like sort of utility road off to our left. I mean, there are some connectors,
Okay.
but in general, this is a very, very, I wouldn't say inhospitable, but it's natural.
Does anyone go back there ever?
No.
Like neighbors people don't walk through there?
No, not at all. You know, I mean, occasionally the utility road, you'll see someone, obviously from the utility company, what have you. But this is part of the charm of this area of having privacy and solitude. But ironically, people are now reaching out to each other, connecting with each other. I think keeping an eye.
I mean, I couldn't imagine feeling comfortable in that neighborhood knowing that this had happened. I wouldn't move because of it, but I would feel uncomfortable about it.
Eye on each other.
And so I don't know anybody that will. I'm sure they probably do. It's weird.
There's talk of a neighborhood watch. There are folks who've maybe lost their spouse or partner and live alone, and kind of making people aware that, hey, if you have a need, call us or bang on our door. It's okay, you know, because we are a little bit distant from each other, you know, with the lots. And I think it's actually caused a lot of conversation and processing.
Yeah.
Then Boulder says safe is a state of mind. I disagree. You can think that you're safe while being kidnapped, I guess.
Some people have asked me, like, oh, are the neighbors scared? Because like other cases I've covered, you know, when something's unsolved, like people will be really scared. But I don't really get that sense here at all. I mean, I met you walking your dogs.
Yeah, I think people are, most of all, saddened and supportive. They want to be respectful of the family. This is something that, I know it's a bizarre event, but everyone has a parent. Everybody has a mother. And it's relatable that, you know, people age and you're concerned about aging parents. And
so did he say that he's not?
I think it's this way, but that
but I don't really get other cases I've covered, you know, when something's unsolved, like people will be really scared. But I don't really get that sense here at all. I mean, I met you walking your dogs.
Yeah, I think people are.
So he's not scared. Well, I mean, yeah, he's not an elderly woman with heart issues either, that I know of. On the goal, I'm number 4 for you. I hope there's many more. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, I asked what was it? I think Dr. Gary had been sick. But yeah, I mean, I would love to have him on, schedule a show with him, and yeah, I can ask Chris. Chris will come on anytime. Maybe we'll try and get him on this week. That would be nice. Maybe get John Lamb back.
Most of all, saddened and supportive. They want to be respectful of the family. This is something that, I know it's a bizarre event, but everyone has a parent. Everybody has a mother. And it's relatable that, you know, people age and you're concerned about aging parents. And I think it's been something to process for people.
Yeah. Did you ever meet Nancy?
Just hello.
No, I didn't assume, because I said he's not an old lady with heart issues. And they said, well, maybe he is. I don't know. The I don't know part is that's my get out of jail free card. I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know. Rusty.
This niceties when walking the dog. She had a dog at one time.
She had a
Black terrier.
A black terrier.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
you have
two Papillons.
Papillon.
We got McShackleford did.
Yeah, and one The
Make me crash out, dude.
reason I met you is because one of your Papillons
it's,
is very
I'm not singing happy birthday.
friendly, and one is very
a little spirited.
spirit.
Just kidding. Happy birthday, Dr. Gary. What are you, 32?
Spirited is a good word. Yeah.
Happy birthday to you.
And we would say hello, and we saw less of her as of late, but she was a part of the community, a person who lived in the neighborhood, living her life. We did not know that her daughter is a major media figure, but I know folks in the neighborhood who've lived here 20 years who didn't know. She was a person who lived here, beautiful home, and part of the community in that sense.
For people, again, who don't know the area, would it be hard for an outsider to navigate their way in and out at night?
There are a lot of streets, and it's sort of, and we all have a ritual where we walk, where we jog, and what have you. But there are a lot of streets and cul-de-sacs and what have you. So in that regard, it is a little tricky, to kind of learn your way around.
And dark.
That's the thing, is a lot of that, we don't have overhead street lamps, which is actually, you can see the beautiful stars and what have you. But a lot of the houses, our house, two of our neighbors' houses are illuminated. They have lighting around their homes.
Yeah, you have like landscape lights, I noticed.
So, as you're out and about, it's not at all dangerous in that regard. Sure, we don't have street lamps, but the houses are, many of the houses have landscape lighting.
Yeah. Is it a strange feeling? Like, have you processed just that this happened so close? I mean, it's like literally right by your house.
Yeah, I know it is. I mean, we could see the back of her home, and it's saddening because you're just, it's a terrible event. And we don't know, of course, what truly happened, but it's disturbing. It's unsettling.
Are you surprised we don't know more? It's now been a month.
I mean, that's the frustration is, as I noted, folks were beyond helpful to say, have our ring video, come to our house, interview us, talk to each other, trying to recall, had they seen something odd.
His hair is getting more deranged by the minute. Who the hell is Dr. Gary? He's a friend of the show, friend of mine, and it's his birthday.
Had they seen something unusual? And the reality is, and once again, every time there was a breakthrough and we thought there was going to be resolved, unfortunately it had not been. But I have to hope, I know the other day, talk about the vehicle that was perhaps the vehicle, we don't know, seen. And with the reward, I understand there are more tips coming in. We have to keep some hope that maybe there'll be some sort of bit of information that will lead to something.
Yeah. Anything else?
No,
Jeff,
just
you want to tell people.
I think folks, there is a value to having the story told so that people might recall something. I also know, in terms of the neighborhood, and you folks included, have been so respectful and to the family and the community. I know that's been a hope of folks, that we've seen the value of the media doing that. There have been some podcasters where it's been different, and I think just
who's he talking about? Somebody just catch strays from this guy?
Across the board, folks are cherishing those who are bringing this information to others, and hope that overrides maybe the approach that some have taken that is at times a little disruptive.
Yeah, I think mostly people have been pretty positive.
Yeah.
Gary, you want to do a show tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely.
Want to come on tomorrow?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Talk about this case. Maybe take some calls on the case.
For welcoming us into your neighborhood.
Oh, for sure.
Appreciate Jeff for talking to me and being so supportive of the media that's out here. At KVOA, which is the local TV station where Savannah worked, which is just a couple of miles from here in town, there's this memorial that has grown that says "Bring her home." And again, I use the word memorial. Maybe that's not the right word, but there's a, sort of just a place that people can come and sign and show their support for the Guthrie family. And there's a ton of signatures out there. I was out there.
What time is the interview room show tomorrow? Are you on with McDonough tomorrow?
Last night there was people gathering, and that's actually the station where Savannah Guthrie worked. You remember she worked her way up in local news, which is something that I can, relate to. You start in a really, really small market, and then you try to climb your way up. I think Tucson was her second job. So that's why the banner happens to be at that station, because that's where Savannah worked. And I talked to a couple of locals out there who are just, invested in the case. They were actually surprised. They were surprised there haven't been more sort of like vigils or gatherings that have been organized for the community to come together to think of Nancy, but they were happy to go out to the memorial. And I wanted you to listen to what they told me.
We just left her house. We're looking over there.
Yeah, we can go on after. The interview room. They'll probably be on 2.5 hours or so. We can do a back to back. You can lead us in. Pew. Pew. One right to the other. Pew.
Just support. We hope for a safe return. That's it.
We can go back to back. Michael Jordan, 96, 97.
Yeah, just been following that, and really want to show our support.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And you're from Tucson?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you think happened?
I don't know. There's just so many, theories, and I don't know. It's just very, very sad. Very sad. And yeah, I mean, I can see, where she lived, it's a safe community. We've lived here all
You do the wrap-up show.
our lives, and nothing like this has ever.
Or sort of the emotion.
Chris will lead us right in. It'll be cool. All right.
Breaking
news.
Savannah
We don't know shit.
Guthrie's mother, Nancy Guthrie, missing.
Can you hear the ding when I do it?
Day 30. This as new video footage uncovered of 12 separate vehicles speeding by in Nancy's neighborhood directly onto her street between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. the very night Nancy is abducted around 2 a.m. Shocker. One of those vehicles that many people have identified as a Kia Soul speeds by just 8 minutes after Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker stops connecting to Bluetooth. What is the significance? This, as we learn, many experts believe the ransom notes were written by AI, and tonight we discover there is a way to trace and track.
I'll sing you Happy Birthday Marilyn Monroe style. So you can be excited about that. And you're not getting out of it either, so.
That. Also, we learn that the family is getting the home back. Good move or bad move on Nanos's part? Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
Big money that could change the rest of a person's life, that reduces loyalty. Somebody who sees a $1.2 million reward is going to start to think, that boyfriend I dated, but I don't really like him.
It's very dramatic.
So much now. You know what? I like the thought of a 1.2 million reward a lot more.
We are hoping that the attention that has been given to our mom and our family will extend to all the families like ours who are in need and need prayers and need support. So please, if you hear this message, if you've been waiting and you haven't been sure, let this be your sign to please come forward, tell what you know, and help us bring our beloved mom home.
And I wasn't going to say, do you want me to? That's not what, that wasn't part of it.
So that we can either celebrate a glorious, miraculous homecoming or celebrate the beautiful, brave, and courageous and noble life that she has lived. Please be the light in the dark. Thank you.
Straight out to Crime Stories investigative reporter Dave Mack, day 30. What's the latest?
Nancy, at 30 days in.
Oh my God, it's the guy from the Hubble telescope, or the Hubble telescope, the Hubble telescope. Nancy, we got to bring her down here. We got a bogey down here. We're up in the stratosphere by Orion's belt. How do we sound out here, Nance? I haven't had sun in 377 days. Over and out.
To this investigation, it has been.
I'm streaming live from a porta potty.
So up and down that right now we've got homicide detectives that have been assigned to this case. We actually are seeing a getaway vehicle. Remember when we talked about this? When we first saw the vehicles appearing on the Ring camera from about 2.5 miles away, it was at 2:30 in the morning. And at first the FBI said, "No, we don't need that. It doesn't count. Doesn't mean anything." Well, they turned around on that one. Now, this could be the break in the case.
Yeah, well, keyword is love and Guy.
We're talking about Ring doorbell footage picking up cars between midnight and 6 a.m., specifically 2:37 in the morning. So we'll talk a little bit more about that over the next couple of days as the investigation moves forward with this possible break in the case. Also, we're looking at the picture of our suspected kidnapper at the front door. We've watched it a million times, but now on the suspect's right wrist, some say they are seeing what appears to be a tattoo. I don't know if you see it or not. We'll take a look at it, but some are suggesting that there is a tattoo on that right wrist. And we're wondering now,
good point,
is that going to be another identifier? Also, we spent some time talking about the walkie-talkie possibility, the antenna sticking out of the pocket of the perpetrator. Well, it might not have been a walkie-talkie. It very well could have been an antenna sticking out. So, Brian Fitzgibbons, we've got a lot to talk about. Can you break this down for us, starting with that antenna that might be sticking out and the tattoo? Is there a tattoo, and how could we go about tracking this possible suspect with the tattoo?
Yeah, so Dave, the tattoo definitely helps when we're talking about focusing the media attention on people on the periphery of this subject. That's going to help to provide a positive identification. Now, with the point of that antenna, there's been a lot of speculation that could have been used as a walkie-talkie. This would be a method for the perpetrator on the porch to.
What the hell is he talking about, dude? It's a tattoo of an antenna.
Communicate with a driver during the abduction. And there's also been quite a bit of speculation, which I think is reasonable as well, that this was actually a signal jammer. Now, what is a signal jammer? These are $30 to $40 items that are purchased illegally online. They're not legal to use, but what they do is broadcast a radio frequency on the same bands that the Nest camera would have been connected to the Wi-Fi. So these devices work within a 25 to 50 meter range, and effectively it's a denial of service attack on the smart devices connected to this home security systems. Now, these are commonly used in home invasions, burglaries, abductions. And what it's going to do is buy time for the perpetrator. And what I mean by that is when the perpetrator flips the switch on that device and they're inside that range of 25 to 50 meters of the Nest camera, it's going to stop any updates from happening, any push notifications, any type of alarm being triggered or a call being sent to law enforcement.
Joey H says, I've said it before, I'll say it again. The perp looks like the chupacabra. Leave no rock unturned, y'all. Hashtag I want to believe. Rusty McShackleford says, I have multiple jammers and they're completely legal to use on your own device. So apparently, Rusty McShackleford jams his own devices because it's completely legal to do so.
So it's very plausible based on the size of that device and that antenna that it could possibly be a signal jammer.
We have talked about this silent witness. What are we talking about now as we're talking about a possible signal jammer? We still have cell phone activity that has got to be determined.
Guys, it's illegal to handcuff other people, but I handcuff myself all the time.
At some point, how do we move forward with that?
Yeah, so that
sounded weird.
That cell phone is indeed a silent witness. So what we're talking about there is, and focusing on, I would think, is those prior trips to Mrs. Guthrie's home. Did the perpetrator have the operational security in mind to turn off that cell phone or leave it behind when he went? Because there could be a trace of his location left behind, similar to the Koberger case, where you could see his patterns of movement. You could see, going back prior to him committing the crime. It's easy to think about it on game day when that abduction is going to take place, to turn off your phone, put it in a Faraday bag, or leave it behind. A Faraday bag would be a bag designed to
I'm not really sure.
block all those signals from being emitted. And a cell phone is leaving behind this data exhaust, location data, time stamps, and everything of the like. So, if there was a phone present, that's what these dumps from the towers that are being scrupulously analyzed by the FBI will reveal, probably, in the coming days here.
All right. Now, what about the tattoo? Is there a way?
Why is this guy conducting an interview? Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy at? I don't want the Hubble telescope guy conducting an interview.
To track if the suspect has a tattoo on the right wrist, is there a way possible to track that tattoo artist maybe that did the tattoo? Is that a possible link?
I think that'd be very difficult in reality. There's no telling.
Can you tell that there's a tattoo or not? I can't tell if there's a tattoo because is there a way to track it over and out?
First.
Yeah, I think there is. Are you there? Yeah, I just got your message. I'm in space.
Well, the resolution of that image is.
I don't see no friggin' tattoo.
Is not clear enough to make a definitive determination on if it is indeed a tattoo or not.
Throw me the can with the string attached so we can communicate better.
Not. Second, the number of tattoo parlors, the number of tattoo artists that could have placed this piece on his arm, that's quite a few people, right? We don't have a good look to get a description of the tattoo, and there are a number of people who have tattoos extending down to their wrist. This doesn't help us zero in too much. What I think it does, however, do is for someone who's on the periphery, who is associated or acquainted with this perpetrator in any way, that would help them make the positive identification. Oh, I know this person has been acting strange for the last 30 days, fits all those descriptions of somebody who may have been involved in a major crime. And now I have this one little piece that might motivate somebody to make that call and get the over $1 million reward.
At this hour,
welcome back, Nance.
New video footage has been recovered. Let's see a look at what the FBI is looking at along with us. This is a neighbor around 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home. This is from their home cam street facing. Why is this significant? This is from our friends over at Fox News Digital, by the way. Look at the vehicles. They're not just vehicles in the neighborhood. They are vehicles. This goes right onto Nancy Guthrie Street between 12:30 a.m. and 6 a.m. Who is out driving around at the exact time Nancy Guthrie is kidnapped a few blocks away? One of the vehicles, just 8 minutes after her pacemaker disconnects from Bluetooth. Joining us an all-star panel, but first of all, straight out to Dave Mack, Crime Stories investigative reporter. Dave, tell me about this video.
Nancy, it's shocking when you look at the video. You're seeing this Ring camera picking up the car driving on what is considered a back road. It's not a road that is traveled on a regular basis by a lot of people, but those familiar with the area, Nancy, would know this is a perfect way out of Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood. And as you mentioned, the 2:36 a.m. marker is really important because Nancy's pacemaker attached by Bluetooth at 2:28 a.m. This is about 7.5 minutes later, the exact amount of time it takes to drive from Nancy Guthrie's home to this location on the Ring doorbell camera footage we're seeing. This camera footage was available, Nancy, but it was just outside of the 2-mile circumference that law enforcement put up as their ring around the actual crime scene. It's 2.5 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home. But again, it is an area that leads away from her neighborhood, and it perfectly catches these cars. We mentioned a minute ago, between midnight and 6 a.m. that day, 12 cars traveled down that road. This one at 2:36 a.m.
Guys, this is from our friends at Fox News. Let me go straight out to special guest joining us along with Brian Fitzgibbons. Eric Dickerson is with us, former FBI special agent, 20 years, who has specialized in international kidnapping, supervised the FBI Mexico-U.S. Border Liaison Program. Man, I bet you got some stories to tell. International crimes investigator. Many times in your cases, you...
What the hell does that mean? I bet you got some stories to tell. I bet you do too, Nancy.
You have used surveillance video like this, and this was a near miss. It was just outside that 2-mile radius where the FBI and local sheriffs were looking. What do you make of this, Eric?
Yeah, Nancy, this falls in line with their normal investigative procedure. What they're going to be doing, obviously, they're focusing on the evidence collected at the scene of the crime. But as they work further and further away from that epicenter, they're going to look at cameras. The next logical step would be to follow points of entry and exit to the community. They're going to be looking at what we call choke points, or where vehicles have the tendency or a natural tendency to flow. And they're going to be trying to put together additional pieces. When I look at this video, the unfortunate side is obviously the resolution doesn't provide us details like license plate numbers, provide insight. It does provide enough detail for them to follow up on additional leads. And Nancy, this could be something that is significant in the case. I talked about this before. As they open that circumference from the center of the crime, they're going to reveal additional information. Now, I would like to say whether or not this vehicle was involved in the actual crime itself, it is of significant relevance because it was in the area when the crime occurred. So whether it is...
Nobody looks like the perp because he's wearing a friggin' mask.
Is directly related to the criminal activity or to the abduction, or whether or not they are a valuable piece of evidence in being a witness. It's still a very, very relevant breaking evidence and news.
I agree, guys. This is Eric Dickerson, former FBI special agent, 20 years specializing in international kidnappings and worked the U.S.-Mexico border. That video from our friends at Fox. Now,
this is what you do. You bore the inside of the cactus out and you hide inside of it like the carcass of an animal. Duh. You got to do everything here.
To Brian Fitzgibbons, you know him well. He is Director of Operations, USPA Nationwide Security. He leads a team of investigators specializing in missing people around the world, trying to recover and extract them. Former Marine, Iraqi war vet. Brian, you and I have dealt with a lot of cases that were cracked because of a car. Okay, just off the top of my head, these are two great examples I like to use. Of course, the devil himself, Brian Kohberger. You know, the campus police at WSU, Washington State University in Pullman, Washington, found his car first. Why? Because a clerk at a gas station quick stop, and there is the King Road address where Brian Kohberger did the worst crimes imaginable. This clerk at, let's just say a quick trip. It's not a quick trip. I've been there, but I don't recall the name of the gas station. Took it upon herself to start combing through video all on her own, and she sees the white Elantra go by at like 4:30 in the morning, some crazy time, and hands it over to police. They get white Elantra. They then put that out to all surrounding points. And Washington State University, there's a guy, campus security, starts going through, well, who's registered with a white Elantra? Brian Kohberger. They go to his apartment. They see the Elantra, get the tag.
Dude, why is my guy leaning forward like that? I don't get it. He looks like JD Vance's like cousin. Why is he leaning forward?
Number and all that. And that's how the whole thing starts with the white Elantra. Example 1, Molly Tibbetts, gorgeous young co-ed, been studying for her classes, goes out for a jog, daylight hours, let's not attack the victim, goes out for a jog. The last time she's seen, she's having an altercation with a guy, easing by, back and forth. He was identified as the perp that killed her because of unusual markings on that vehicle caught on home surveillance. I can name them and name them and name them. Cars. Point. Fitzgibbons. Isn't it true in major metropolitan areas? There are whole teams, like you got homicide, you got robbery, you got sex crimes, crimes on children. There's a whole team that works on stolen cars. They identify types, makes, and models just like that, because every year car manufacturers subtly change the car to appeal to those people that want to buy a new car every year. Who they are, I don't know. They can look at a car and give you the make and model and some of the year, just like that. So already our online sleuths have identified one of the vehicles as a Kia Soul. What do you make of the car information? Let's take a look at the video some more.
Yeah, you're spot on here, Nancy. And, one thing I'll add to this, very quickly, online sleuths identified that this is a Kia Soul. And I want to add something. Eric did a great job describing how they're expanding that radius with collecting video. Sources have reported that
victim risk continuum.
Law enforcement has collected nearly 10,000 hours of surveillance video related to this case. So what does that say to us? This video happened to come to Fox News. Okay. There are tens of thousands of hours that has not come to Fox News, and that law enforcement is going through the process of triaging based on the time, the location of those cameras, the time of the recording, and they're starting to process that all now. So I think that this case is far from cold. A lot of leads are being investigated from this video.
Put him up. Put him up now. We don't say the C word. I don't want to hear cold.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I agree.
And
he was saying that it wasn't.
And I'll tell you why. Because a lot has been made of the fact that, hey,
I'll say it. What are you going to do?
Hey, Dave Mack, isn't this true? I'm going to circle back to the video, but I want to clear up a point. Dave Mack, Crime Stories investigative reporter with us. The FBI is taking a lot of its men and women from Tucson, and they're relocating to Phoenix, which is their largest branch, their largest and now
being investigated from this video.
Put him up. Put him up now. We don't say the C word. I don't want to hear cold.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I agree.
And
no, you don't. No, you don't. You're just scared. You're scared.
I'll tell you why. Because a lot has been made of the fact that, hey, Dave Mack, isn't this true? I'm going to circle back to the video, but I want to clear up a point. Dave Mack, Crime Stories investigative reporter with us. The FBI is taking a lot of its men and women from Tucson, and they're relocating to Phoenix, which is their largest branch, their largest office in Arizona. And I was thinking about it last night, Dave Mack. Actually, I may have been talking to you about it. Yeah, I could come up with legal theories if I was sitting out in the woods in a forest in a tent. But I could do a lot better if I've got my laptop, if I've got my iPad, I've got all my stuff that I use when I am researching. I can look up the law, I can look up the facts. The fact that they are relocating from Tucson and taking a large number of boots on the ground to Tucson does not mean this case is cold. Dave Mack, what do you know about them relocating a lot of the force to Phoenix?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's cold. I mean, definitely not hot.
The FBI investigators are working in Tucson. They're working out of like a satellite office. But by taking
you would know about a satellite office, Dave Mack.
Back to the main office in Phoenix, where they have access to all of everything, including all of the experts sitting next to one another.
Yeah, I'm not much of a C word guy myself.
You mentioned like sitting in a tent, coming up with legal theories. Well, now put that tent inside of an office with thousands of hours of experience on this case alone. Now you can get some movement forward. So no, this moving from Tucson to Phoenix.
No, he's not. Dave Mack is 46.
Phoenix with a large number of the investigation. It really is a way to put all of their eggs in a basket that can actually really investigate, because they've already done boots on the ground, Nancy, and they'll have other research events take place as needed. But they've all seen the locations. Now they've got to dig in to the actual data and break it all down. So
you're right, Dave
moving
Mack.
into Phoenix is stepping it up.
I mean,
why does this camera look like that too?
Eric Dickerson, you've handled so many investigations, as has Fitzgibbons. They've turned the house upside down. They've had federal prosecutors out there to go over it. We were watching them yesterday. Let's see that footage. of them going through step by step, all the way through the home, all the way through the outside. There they are. We got this aerial view from our friends at Fox. Look at this. They are going past the pool. I noticed, Eric, that they took a long time and one guy took photos at the wrought iron gate as he was leaving the pool area. They're coming along a side alley, side walkway to get to the pool that's completely obscured by foliage. See the guy taking a picture of something right there, and he takes it and off they go. They've done it all. Now, I don't like the idea, which I'm going to discuss, about them releasing the scene. I don't see what's the hurry in that, because in the Alex Murdaugh trial, I know you remember him, double killer, high-profile lawyer out of South Carolina. They did not release the scene, and guess what? The jury got their guilty verdict after visiting the crime scene.
Every time I see a picture of him, I just remember when he took like the selfie on the prison tablet. He showed his nipples to everybody.
So I don't believe in releasing the scene before the jury trial, but that's just me. That said, everybody on the ground has done all they can do. Now it's a matter of assimilating all of this evidence. You're hearing Dave Mack talk about the thousands and thousands of videos. Oh, that was Fitzgibbons, the thousands of video surveillance that they've yet to go through.
Yeah, Nancy, the FBI and local authorities have what's called evidence response teams, or ERT. They specialize in meticulously going through every piece of possible evidence, including collecting any DNA.
Thank you to everybody who donated to the goal. Unfortunately, we did not hit the goal tonight. And if I was Gray Hughes, I would shut this stream down right now. I'm just kidding.
Any physical evidence.
No, I'm serious. If I was Gray Hughes, I would.
Or any fingerprints, or any type of evidence from the scene of the crime. And when they feel they've exhausted all collection, the normal course of events is then they release that crime scene back to the owner of the property or the family. This is normal protocol. Of course, there is the possibility that something may be discovered at a later date, but I'm sure they feel comfortable in the fact that they have meticulously combed through everything that's available to them.
And Brian Fitzgibbons joining us from USPA Nationwide Security. Brian, I was telling Hannity last night, who was kind enough to invite me on, I cannot even remember, count all the nights I would be sitting in the floor at the office, sitting beside the Xerox machine. Everybody else had gone home at the district attorney's office, surrounded by stacks of paper. Each one was a pile, like witness statements, legal arguments, DNA reports, just you name it. Thinking, oh my stars, there's so much paper. I just want to get in the courtroom and try the case. But you have to cross your T's and dot your I's. So I remember those nights. And part of putting a case together is what the FBI is going to do now. Now back in their main field division in Phoenix. Have you ever had to plow through thousands of documents? And when I was a Fed, we would have a room full of boxes of documents, a whole room of boxes stacked up. So it's part of the job. You have to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a private investigator, don't
worry, he's berated me too.
We don't have nearly the support that the FBI has, right? The personnel, the expertise, the number of reps that they get at processing this amount of video. These are the experts.
You haven't lived until you've been called the worst person alive or ever.
They're
by Gray Hughes.
You're going to be able to do that. And I want to add one thing. That walkthrough with federal prosecutors is key here, because a lot of this evidence research and collection that's going to happen and analysis is going to be guided by those prosecutors as they build this up.
That's right. On the plan.
I want to go back to the car video, guys. Now, A lot is being made online. It's helpful. It's not helpful. It's a dead end. It's a lead. You can't listen to anything you're hearing or reading in the media. Media on the outside, law enforcement on the inside. But I am telling you that every bit of video is being reviewed by the feds. Guys, this video is provided to us from our friends at Fox News. Brian Fitzgibbons, speaking of the video and whether it's real or not real, and sources say it is and sources say it's not. What about the speed? The driver is flying by, and it makes me remember how fast Brian Koberger, he was like a bat out of HE-double-L, flying, flapping as fast as he can to get out. Wings on fire. Okay. Koberger flying out of there. And the particular car that goes by right after Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker disconnects from Bluetooth is flying, Brian Fitzgibbons.
Yeah, it looks like that vehicle's moving at a pretty high rate of speed. And as we've seen in this case, these roads are very dark, residential areas. So that could be an anomaly to be driving that at that high rate of speed at that time of night.
All of the information about this reward and the details is in the caption below. You can call the 1-800-TIP line. You can be anonymous if you want. Someone out there knows something that can bring her home. Somebody knows. And we are begging you to please come forward now. We also know that we are not alone in our loss. We know there are millions of families that have suffered with this kind of uncertainty. And for that reason today, we also are donating $500,000 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children for their work in helping families who are coping with loss and actively looking for those who are lost.
Hi guys, Nancy Grace here. Have you looked at your credit card bill? Everybody's working 40, 50 hours a week just to buy things you used to afford, like you
to turn the house back over yet. They've still got to find the.
What? I'm under your live chat? Really? I don't know where to move.
Who did this?
Video from Nancy Guthrie's home has shown a masked suspect on her front porch the night she goes missing, but now has a distinguishing mark been found on the backpack. The FBI, working with Pima County sheriffs, released the doorbell video to generate leads. Look carefully on the perp's left strap. An individual has spotted and now publicized a black star on the jacket. Take a look. Let's see it ISO'd very quickly. A star-shaped pattern in black. Look at this. It was shared widely on Twitter, X. What, if anything, does it mean? It could mean nothing, or it could mean.
Yeah, that was fun. Thank you. I appreciate that. Another top share impersonation of that Steve dude that mumbles and says nothing. She's lost. I don't know what else to tell you. I was laughing with no sound and my stomach hurt. Epic.
A break in the case. This post from Trill on X. Straight out to Dave Mack, Crime Stories investigative reporter. Dave, what can you tell me about the star? Because we have gone back and reviewed.
That's a deal. You know, you donate 500, I'll donate 500.
The original video released by Kash Patel, released by law enforcement, And you can see that in the look, there it is.
I'm up.
Now, when it's highlighted and put on X, you can see much better and you see red stitching. But you can see that. What do you know, Dave?
Nancy, this has just come up in the last hours, and a lot of people are trying to search for that particular star and where it is located on other backpacks. And Nancy, we've even gone back and forth here about, well, do you see it? Do you not? It's a catch-22. I don't know what is actually on the strap versus the jacket in trying to locate it. You can't see anything there, but right there you can see it on his left strap, what appears to be a star.
Guys, if you look at different angles, sometimes you can see it, sometimes you cannot see it. Is it real? In any
What the hell are they talking about?
event, Eric Dickerson, this is a type of detail that has to be chased down by the feds, right? Every detail could matter.
Yeah, and it's Nancy, it's a relevant detail because it serves two purposes, really. Number one, the uniqueness of that star could help determine where that article of clothing or that backpack came from. That's an important detail. And the second point is it can help in asking for public assistance. This is somewhat unique.
Yeah, I know. I was kidding too. I know what you're talking about.
And it can help some witness or somebody who's willing to cooperate.
I'm glad you're with me on this.
Identify that clothing associated with a person. So either way, I think it's relevant, whether it's a star, whether it's something else, just the fact that it's somewhat unique to that article of clothing.
What about it, Brian Fitzgibbons? What, if anything, can you do with that? Distinctive features can identify a perp. Okay, here's a good example. I tried a drug lord. I tried a lot of drug lords. And
I tried a drug lord.
One of them was seen the night of the incident. It was...
Yeah, I thought the backpack had already been established.
A murder, by the way. And he brazenly was wearing a red leather ensemble, jacket, pants, the works. And guess what he was wearing when he was cited again? Red leather ensemble. I mean, how many of those were walking around? Is very, very easily identifiable. So, same thing. A detail like that can go a long way. Jump in.
Absolutely. And, it's going to help investigators identify, was this a piece of clothing that was produced with that star on it? That's the brand's logo or whatever. Or was this an aftermarket thing? What are there embroidery shops in Tucson that have put on 50 of these for
embroidery shop,
for a small business or a school or something related to it? So
yeah, he took his Easter basket backpack to commit a robbery that he got from the local embroidery lady.
This will be very identifiable if that is indeed an embroidered star on that jacket.
Guys, we're trying to make sense of all of the evidence that is bubbling up as we go to air. New evidence about a star beside the backpack, vehicles speeding by in Nancy's neighborhood at the same time her pacemaker disconnects from Bluetooth. Sometimes all the evidence can be overwhelming, Eric Dickerson, and that is why I had to quote, marshal the evidence. Marshal the evidence. In other words, think of 1,000 men and women in the infantry. If they're just milling around, they're ineffective. You have to get them in lines, assign them tasks. You have to marshal them to have any effect. That's what is meant by marshaling your evidence.
I have no idea.
So right now, think about it, Eric. The FBI is going to decamp from Tucson. They're going to recamp in Phoenix. And they have all of this video to go through. 10,000 plus hours of surveillance. They have all of the Walmart to go through. That's online orders and wow, and purchases at local Walmarts and beyond. They have all of the tips to go through. Now, over 40,000 tips since Savannah gave her last plea, which we showed earlier. Nearly 2,000 tips have already come in since then, which I believe may be even more serious tips because there's $1 million plus on the line. This is a Herculean task. I mean, how does the FBI go about doing it?
Yeah, Nancy, there's a lot associated with this. So it cuts both ways. Going public and asking for public assistance and increasing this reward to now over $1,200,000 can bring substantial new evidence into the fold, into helping identify and helping discover new evidence. But it also creates issues where you're getting a lot of reporting, much of which is not associated with this crime, much of which may be people trying to capitalize on this tragedy to make money. So this is going to be a monumental task, as you said, for the FBI and local law enforcement to comb through all of this reporting and all of this evidence. Key things they're going to be looking for, though, is anything unique that people that provide this evidence may know about the victim. So whether that's proof of life information, whether it's unique information of the way she was dressed or articles that she may have had on her person, all of that is going to come into play so they can start to weed through this evidence and figure out what's relevant for the case and what isn't. But I recall back when 9/11 happened, and we had tens of thousands, not millions of people reporting suspicious activity. And the monumental task of going through and finding what's relevant to the crime and what isn't. That's going to be a big challenge for authorities right now.
Also tonight, a creepy stranger drives past Nancy Guthrie's home last night around 100 times while staring at a photo of Mrs. Guthrie on his phone.
Oh my God. What the?
Straight out to Dave Mack. Dave Mack, who is this guy?
Nancy, late yesterday afternoon into the
I'm live from the chopper. I'm live from Chopper 5 Southwest by Southeast.
early evening hours, a man was driving his vehicle on Nancy Guthrie's street right in front of her house. And he's driving by really slow while he's looking at a picture of Nancy Guthrie on his phone. Now, we're not talking 3 or 4 times driving up and down the street. We're talking about the guy doing it for a long time, 50 to 100.
Yeah, he was hammered, wasn't he?
100 times driving in front of her house, all the while, and I mean going really, really slow. He's creeping along, looking at a picture of Nancy Guthrie on his phone. So finally, police, decide it's time to take a look at this guy, and they pull him over, and police arrest 34-year-old Antonio de Jesus Pena Campos in front of Nancy Guthrie's home on misdemeanor DUI charges.
Hope against hope.
Misdemeanor DUI charges? DUI is a misdemeanor?
As my sister says, we are blowing on the embers of hope.
He is a gooner.
We also know that she may be lost. She may already be gone. She may have already gone home to the Lord that she loves and is dancing in heaven with her mom and her dad and with her beloved brother Pierce and with our daddy. And if this is what is to be, then we will accept it.
Hi, guys. Nancy Grace here. And one.
We know.
And if this is what is to be, then...
Or Nancy Guthrie. Their search extends to...
Oh, really? He was having a schmag, smoking the reef?
Mexico.
Wasn't actually drinking alcohol.
We understand the FBI has contacted Mexican authorities. Are they doing anything to help find Nancy Guthrie? What's the likelihood she was taken to Mexico? And none other better to discuss that than Eric Dickerson joining us and Brian Fitzgibbons. Dickerson, to you, former FBI special agent, 20 years, specializing in international kidnappings, who supervised the FBI and the Mexican-U.S. border. What do you think about that?
I reached out to my sources at the Attorney General.
Dude, Eric, thank you for that. I just had this happen the other day. Like we had to have like one of our drains snaked. I kid you not. So like it's this big ass like cable, right? That kind of spins like this, and because sometimes like we get some bamboo roots and tree roots in there, and it just makes it's just a problem. And I'm not kidding you. I actually took a picture. Hold on. Actually, I don't know if I have the picture, but I do have a picture. But the guy was running the snake with no gloves. And his ass crack was showing the whole time.
General's office in the state of Sonora, Mexico, which borders Arizona. And they confirmed with me that the FBI has in fact approached them and asked for their assistance. They also stated that based on their initial investigations, they had no indications or no evidence that Nancy Guthrie entered Mexico or crossed the U.S.-Mexico border. It's also relevant to understand that this case, Mexico, we coordinate with Mexico. The U.S. law enforcement and U.S. And the FBI coordinates with Mexico on a regular basis at the border. They have a team called the Border Liaison Team. That this is what they do as a part of their normal protocol when we have a crime of this nature that occurs so close to the border. Now, while this is a kidnapping that occurred in the United States, in Mexico, they would have to investigate this simply as a missing person case. So they would use resources, and they have ample experience and resources in working kidnapping cases. I imagine that they've queried some of their cross-border cameras, some of their law enforcement. They've done what we call a welfare and whereabouts check, where they would check hospitals and morgues and things of that nature to ensure that that what they're providing is accurate to this case.
Hey, Eric, I'm trying to keep up with you, but I'm like drinking from the fire hydrant. Too much, too fast. In order, what would they be doing to try to find Nancy Guthrie in order in Mexico?
Well, first thing they would do is they would contact Mexican authorities to request their assistance. What that would look like is they would contact their liaison officials across the border and ask them to do several checks, including border crossings, maybe some welfare and whereabouts checks, which might include checking hospitals, checking the morgue, checking other resources that they have at their disposal.
What do you mean by other resources? Hospitals, morgues, what else?
Possibly jails. There's a normal protocol that they use, which is usually involves jails, hospitals, and the morgue to check and see if there's any evidence at those locations that she would be present in one of those locations. Secondly, they would also request that Mexican authorities participate in the investigation, and that is start to maintain some type of be on the lookout and protocols that may activate some of their resources like cameras or some of their source intelligence that could identify whether or not she crossed the border. But they did confirm, Mexican authorities did confirm that she is not present in Mexico, or there was no evidence that she crossed the border into Mexico.
When you say you look for source intelligence, what does that mean? Snitches?
Basically, yeah. Human intelligence. In other words, people that would be reporting having seen her.
So I'm trying to figure out the most likely crossing, if you're coming from Nancy Guthrie's home, would be where?
Well, it would be one of the ports of entry. What's the closest one in proximity? I believe it's Nogales, Mexico. And the FBI actually we have presence in Mexico. So we do have an agent stationed the FBI has an agent stationed in the state of Sonora. So through that agent and through these border liaison supervisors, they are coordinating with Mexican officials to follow up on this case.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
It kind of feels like a needle in a haystack to Brian Fitzgibbons, USPA Nationwide Security, who has done extractions from Mexico. You've got this group of moms saying they felt they had to, quote, step in to look for Nancy because local authorities are doing nothing to find her there.
Yeah, I think, well, that's honorable.
Dude, check this out. So this is the guy that, so I just called the local plumbing service. And this is the van that showed up. Look at that thing, dude. How the hell is what he's supposed to call you? This is the no glove guy. This is the ass crack guy. So anyway, I have no idea. But he did the job. I'll tell you that. That's all I cared about.
As I've mentioned before, I think anything that happens in Mexico, the first and primary actor is going
No, I didn't let him in. He was an outside train.
to be the U.S. federal government. Their sources, their diplomatic ties to Mexican authorities, and as Eric mentioned, their source intelligence network.
There's like a runoff. So like on the street, and he was looking down into the runoff where you could see the water flowing, and he was like laying on his stomach. He was like laying on his stomach with his head like completely in the hole, and his ass crack was out that far. I didn't take a picture of that.
Is going to be the primary mover there. This is a noble effort by this group of moms, and certainly shouldn't be discounted. But the primary force, if Mrs. Guthrie is in Mexico, will be the U.S. federal government.
If you know or think you know anything about the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, please dial toll-free 800-225-5324. 800, call FBI. Or if you wish to remain anonymous, 520-882-7463. Repeat, 520-882-7463. There is a $1.2+ million reward, about $1.25 million reward for information leading to the whereabouts of Nancy Guthrie. It does not
he's a great plumber. Absolutely.
require an arrest or conviction of the perpetrator. We remember an American hero, Trooper Joel Pop, Michigan State Police, killed in the line of duty. after 4 years on the force, leaving behind a wife, now widow, and a daughter sentenced to life without her father, American hero trooper Joel Pop. Thank you to our guests for being with us, but especially to you.
Shout out to Nancy doing that.
And thank you for joining us as we continue in the search for Nancy Guthrie. Nancy Gray signing off for tonight, but I'll see you tomorrow night. And until then, good night, friend.
Is that it? Oh my God. Court TV's talking about the walkie-talkie. Does anybody play Court TV? Do they care if you play their stuff? I don't want to do it if they don't like it. Searching for a body. Is it Vinny?
Colors, of course, it's a black and showing multiple communications that claim knowledge of the disappearance, while the family tries to entice someone with information to come forward. They've offered $1 million. The FBI is involved, and for Nancy's family, the agonizing wait continues.
Okay, so, the investigation continues. We're getting little bits and pieces from the sheriff. Sometimes you get a little nugget here, a little nugget there.
Dude, one of my favorite things that Vinny does on his show is that he takes his blood sugar at the end of the show, and like the chat guesses like what it is. It's funny stuff.
An idea of what's happening. But then you've got all this media that is covering this. And sometimes the media is uncovering something that
do they know we're at war?
No one has seen before. So let's bring in Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas. And there's a lot of buzz. There's some new ring video everyone is talking about. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, new video, Vinny, and it's seeming to be pretty crucial in this investigation. It's new video obtained by Fox News Digital showing multiple cars going past a neighbor that lives near Nancy Guthrie's house. Now, we're going to play a portion of that video. The video has timestamps on it. You're going to hear cars go by at precisely 12:46 a.m., 2:31 a.m., and 2:36 a.m. on the morning that Nancy Guthrie went missing. Now, I want to warn our viewers, there are periods of silence between each car going by. This home is about 2.5 miles away from Nancy's house. Let's take a look at that video now, obtained by Fox News Digital.
How is this new?
All right, Vinny, saw two cars go one way, one car come back the other way. Let's break this video down a little bit. But one thing to note about the video, it's important to note that authorities apparently did not have this video up until yesterday when this neighbor gave it.
All right, we've gone over this ad nauseum. All right, I'm gonna go to bed. Oh man, Tori just got here too. I just said we're going to bed. Tori just shows up. Damn, it sucks. Yeah, it was cool. Vinny's cool, except when he has gray on. No, we've been over it. So, all right, guys. I'm gonna head out. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Interview room 5 Pacific, I think. 6 Mountain Time, 8 Eastern, and then we'll go on after. Dang, we're just getting started. Think so? I don't know. Yeah, we're just getting started. It's only 12:38. Rusty McShackleford. See all you Range Rover drivers tomorrow. You son of a gun, Rusty. All right, guys. Take care. I only have the personal one. Eric, and it's joshuadynamite@gmail.com. Other one got All right, Mary. It's just some, I don't know, it's just some options.
Do you not?
You fucked me up, dude.
Do you not?